Hey, Dale, do you know why the ghost went to the doctor?
I guess because he needed a booster shot.
Ghosts say boo a lot.
Only in cartoons.
This, my friends, is the Swish Edition. From their secret underground studio, this is the Swish Edition.
I got a mouthful for you guys.
Dale and Scott are in the studio on the mics, and Dave fired up the antenna.
It has to come whether you like it or not.
And if you're willing to show it, they'll take a picture of it.
I actually think I might throw
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between, here are your new best friends. They're your
It's
hosts,
very exciting for me because this is the best show ever made.
Dale and Scott.
I am pissed. Starting off the show pissed because we are sitting here in the studio. Do you want to tell them what you found?
No, I don't, because it's disgusting. I don't know why you want to bring it up.
Well, I'm wondering where the dogs are. So the dogs are not down here. They're usually right here in the studio when we do the show because they follow us everywhere.
Right.
And they're not here. And they're probably upstairs being bad. Because we walk in the studio today and there's like 4 poops on the floor in the studio.
They've never gone down here.
But this is
They
after
haven't gone really anywhere.
about 6 hours ago we came down to the basement and we found a big puddle of piddle. So we've had both pee and poo in our basement.
I'm wondering if it's
Something happened.
if it's because of the really, really just nasty weather and they just don't want to fucking go.
All right, they
outside.
just don't want to go outside. Maybe it's because I gave them Swiss cheese yesterday. I don't know. I had the runs too, but not on the floor.
I mean, if you had to go outside with all that snow, you might not want to go either.
I don't. I wouldn't.
No.
It's true. Anyway, isn't that a great way to start the show? It's February 1st. I can't believe. I don't know what. It just seemed like Christmas was here. And all of a sudden, January's gone. Groundhog Day is tomorrow. One of my favorite days because Groundhog Day is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Don't you love that movie?
I've seen bits and pieces. I found it boring.
Are you crazy? What do you mean bits and pieces? You've never sat through the whole thing?
Couldn't.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
Bill Murray.
I know.
Andy McDowell. It's a great, great movie. Anyway, I think we should watch it tomorrow. I think we should watch it Wednesday night.
I'm sure we can find it somewhere.
It's probably streaming somewhere. Anyway,
Rent it for like $5.
what we want is for the Groundhog, Puxatawny Phil.
Yeah.
We want him not to see his shadow. That means that there will not be 6 more weeks of winter.
Well, I'm wait. Before we go any further, let me see. So today is Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, February 1st.
It's hit or miss. It's partly cloudy.
All right.
At least here.
Yeah, but this is
This is
somewhere
in
in Pennsylvania. Not
right.
too far away from here.
I just read an article that some animal rights activists are trying to get that city to retire the groundhog.
Oh,
because
for
it's-
God's sake.
Because it's mean.
It's mean to have a groundhog come out of a hole and see if he sees a shadow or not. There's nothing mean about that.
He doesn't come out of his hole. He's dragged out. And then he's held up in front of all these people who are clapping and taking this picture in front of cameras and all that stuff.
Oh, for God's sakes. There's nothing sacred anymore.
So I don't know what they're going to do.
I'd just like to point...
Oh,
Oh, no. Go ahead.
supposedly, this animal rights group wants the city to plant this certain seed, and which is, I guess, supposed to bloom now,
Okay.
which is an indication of warmer weather ahead, or if they don't bloom,
They
then
don't want a poor animal to
cold
be...
weather ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's all bullshit anyway. Everyone knows
Well,
that.
of course it is. But we do have like a 60-degree day coming up this week.
We do, and it's going to be nice. And it's also going to rain on top of the snow, so
Well,
that'll
that's
make a nice...
great news because it'll get rid of all of it.
Yeah, but it's going to make a nice muddy mess for our dogs to run around in and not poop in.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got about 9 inches of snow here in southern Delaware, and they named this blizzard. It was a blizzard. People north of us in Philly and Boston and New York, they got a lot more than we did. 9 inches is what we got. It was a lot. It's still on the ground. The name of the blizzard was Keenan. And you guys, if you guys listen to the show, you know I don't like Keenan. And I certainly didn't like this show. Snow. 2 snowstorms in a row.
I know. It was almost like back to back.
We got nothing last year.
That was great.
We're getting out of town. We're getting out of Dodge.
Getting the hell out of here.
Going back to the desert where it does not snow. Tomorrow starts the Chinese Lunar New Year. It's the year of the tiger. The eye of the tiger.
Yeah, I've been seeing all of the Las Vegas strip properties, do their annual because they go all out for it.
Oh, it's super fun.
And I was just at National Harbor, and they already have the tiger stuff up already.
Well, it's funny because I really love the whole Lunar New Year stuff, and I love Chinese food. I love the Chinese spirit. I love this year the tiger, celebrating the strong and the brave. That's what it's all about.
Okay.
I just don't like their current regime, which is basically a communist dictatorship.
But I think I'm a chicken.
I think I'm a dog.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it's the year of the tiger. I found this very interesting. New York City public schools are closed tomorrow because of Chinese New Year.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, they get a lot of holidays off.
I've never heard that.
A lot of other cities
Well,
don't too.
New York and New Jersey gets all the Jewish holidays off. Most of the country doesn't do that.
No.
So they also have a large Chinese population. I wonder if San Francisco does that because they have a huge Chinese population there.
I think it's only fair.
Yeah. In related news, you guys all know this. The Winter Olympics start tomorrow, basically, with curling. They've got 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, with competitions happening before the opening ceremonies even happen on Friday. So things are happening earlier.
Gotta get them all in.
Yeah. Curling starts tomorrow. I actually love watching curling. I think it's just such a fun, crazy, weird
I wish there was a way to play it. I mean, because it's basically shuffleboard, but...
Shuffleboard on ice.
Right.
Opening ceremonies, if you guys don't know, will take place in the same Bird's Nest Stadium in Beijing, where they did the 2008 Summer Olympics. NBC and Peacock will show all of it live at 6:30 a.m.
Wow.
For us on the East Coast. They'll show it again at 8 p.m. on in the evening in prime time for those who don't want to get up and watch it in the morning. You and I are up at 6:30 a.m. So I see.
Watch this.
You don't want to watch it?
No.
Primetime sports coverage of the Olympics starts at 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday on NBC, and then 7 p.m. on Sundays if you guys want to watch.
The only good thing about these are the opening and closing ceremonies.
No, there's, despite the fact that I'm not happy that China once again got the Olympics, I love Winter Olympics so much more than summer.
Yep.
I love the skiing. I love the curling. I love the speed skating around the track. So much of it I love. Even the figure skating. The figure skating is fun. I mean, there's nothing about the Winter Olympics I don't love. Even bobsled. And for the first time in like 20 years, Jamaica sending a bobsled team to Beijing.
Now that's a movie we should watch.
In related news, Bob Costas, the longtime NBC sportscaster, he's come out and said that he really is disgusted that the IOC gave China the Olympics once again.
He's been outspoken not only about China, but also about the IOC in general.
Yeah.
That it's a corrupt organization and there's lots
it's
of behind-the-scenes dealing.
corrupt.
It's all about money and has nothing to do with the sport
Completely corrupt.
whatsoever. So
He said, quote, "I would anticipate NBC will acknowledge the issues at the beginning and then address them only if something specific that cannot be ignored happens during the course of the games." True, because NBC is paid millions, if not $1 billion, to be able to be the exclusive right holder in North America for the Olympics. They're not going to shit on China, but they should, because China has a lot of humanitarian problems, right?
yeah.
I'm very conflicted. I want to watch it, and I'm going to watch it, but money is what keeps this from not happening.
Right.
Apple, hey, our cell phones right here, Apple iPhone, made in China, right?
Yeah.
Netflix. It's their biggest customer base in China. And a gazillion other companies that do business there. That's why it's a huge market. But when are they willing to take a stand? I mean, apparently 1 million people were killed last year.
Well,
genocide basically is going on in that country.
I mean, I guess it would be nice for companies like that to take it upon themselves to do something.
They won't do it.
But the government could easily just say, you know, you're not allowed to export your items or import what you're needed to manufacture things.
No one is willing to do what they need to do. It's because of the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. Isn't it amazing? We're willing to overlook all this stuff. In case you guys didn't know, the dogs have reappeared. They're both in the room. They're both licking themselves aggressively. I don't know if you can hear it. It's annoying the fuck out of me. Speaking of sports, I keep reading these articles, and I was so happy that I saw this article again because it pisses me off all the time. Basically, the article said, enough with the big game shit. And big game is in quotes. You can say Super Bowl. You're allowed to say Super Bowl as long as you don't imply that you're officially involved somehow with the Super Bowl. So all these bars and restaurants.
Well, you've also once believed that it was not allowed
to
be used in like advertising in a bar or a restaurant.
But there's no reason why a bar downtown in Seaford, Delaware, or Washington, D.C., or San Francisco can say, hey, come watch the Super Bowl with us on Sunday night.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. But all these companies always say the big game. We were just watching an episode of Giada on Food Network.
Oh, yeah.
And she kept calling it the big game.
Well,
she never used the word Super Bowl.
She wasn't the only one because that particular, what was it, Saturday we were watching it? And it was, each show was different for a change. And every single one, we're talking about Super Bowl foods to make. And neither one of them said Super Bowl.
None of them said Super Bowl.
It's all about big game and football and all that stuff.
Stupid. The big game. Come watch the big game. It's the fucking Super Bowl, and you're allowed to say it. The Super Bowl is February 13th. If you guys don't know, LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals, they're playing. I know that because we actually turned on one of the finals on Saturday night.
For like 3 minutes.
Sunday night. Yeah. For 3 minutes. Can companies reasonably stop their products from being used in fictional TV shows and movies? What about reality shows that constantly blur out the logos and art on the walls behind them? I don't understand why they do that. Apparently, Peloton is getting really raked over the coals this winter. You guys probably all know the Sex and the City reboot and Just Like That used the Peloton, and one of their characters was on the Peloton and then fell off and had a heart attack and died. And just now recently, Billions, the show from, is that Showtime?
Yeah, I think so.
One of the characters on Showtime's Billions was riding a Peloton, had a heart attack, didn't die though. Peloton saying, we get why these fictional TV shows would want to include a brand that people love and talk about, but Showtime's use of Peloton's bike and reference to Peloton's instructors was not a brand, product, or instructor placement, and we did not agree for our brand and IP to be used in the show. You know, blah, 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 blah. It's so fucking stupid because how many shows and movies have car crashes in them?
Right.
Does Ford get to say, "Oh, you're not allowed to have a Ford Explorer be in a car accident in a movie or a TV show"? I mean, it's just kind of stupid.
I don't know. I don't know what the thing.
How does that work?
If you could prevent people from using your thing, especially when it's negative. I don't know.
Well, we've seen a million movies with airplane crashes.
Right.
We know what kind of airplane it was.
Right.
It's usually a 747, and there's always crashes in cars, and you can tell what kind of car it is. So it's just stupid that Peloton thinks that their bike is somehow oblivious or not oblivious, above this, right?
Well, I mean, it was two negative things. Both people got on the thing and had heart attacks. That you might want to put out a statement and say, look, we didn't put this bike in here for this purpose. They did it on their own.
No, I agree that the Peloton PR department did what they were supposed to do. And that's probably what I would have done too if I owned Peloton.
Right.
However, I don't think there's any reasonable way to stop your product or artwork or whatever it may be.
Right.
Clothes. I mean, fuck. All the characters in TV shows are wearing somebody's brand of clothes, right? So there's going to be shit that's out there in the world that you're selling that's going to show up in fictional TV shows and movies.
Maybe you can't do anything because you maybe hear about it more. I don't know.
So then you just have to have naked people doing nothing.
Maybe negative publicity is still good publicity. Isn't that what they say?
Isn't that what they always say?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right. I don't know.
Peloton stock took a dive, I think, after Mr. Big died, but I think it's shot back up.
I think it's back to normal now.
Yeah. The problem with a lot of people, we saw this, they talk about this a lot on Morning Joe, is that the reason Peloton has kind of plateaued is because everyone who has a exercise bike already has one.
Right. And their market is so small because of how expensive the bikes. I mean, these are
They're
$10,000 bikes.
Expensive.
And on top of that, you got a $50 a month or more subscription that goes along
to get
with
the
it.
classes. And
Right.
stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And we don't have one.
No, it's way too much for a normal person to want. You know, if a normal person wants a bike, they're maybe spend $1,000. We're not going to spend $10,000.
How about just go to Dick's and buy a real bike and drive your bike on the real road? That's a lot less expensive.
Weather doesn't always permit.
I want to take a second and clarify something that I said last week. I don't know if Dale feels that this is important, but I feel it's important because I was listening back to the show from last week and I felt like I said something, and I don't do this very often, apologize for things that I say. But we were having a discussion and I told the millennials or kids that, you know, they should get to go to fucking work when they don't feel good mentally. Everyone wants mental health days now, right? And I made light of it, and I shouldn't have. I certainly don't want to make light of mental health issues. Mental health is important. Dale and I actually support financially the Trevor Project, which is a very, very important organization that reaches out and has resources for kids, whether they're straight, gay, bisexual, whatever,
right?
To keep them from...
It's a suicide prevention hotline.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
very important. And we feel very strongly about that. So I don't want you guys to think that I am feeling... what's the word? Basically, I'm not taking back what I said because I think a lot of people use it to their advantage and take advantage of these situations.
And that's what makes... It always takes the one who just abuses the privilege and ruins it for everyone else who actually would need it.
And I would actually say that we could probably agree that we have some friends that probably would take advantage of a situation like this.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm not, no names. But yes.
You're looking at me.
If your mental health is important, and if you really are having a problem, you should seek help and you should stay home. That doesn't mean that the snowflakes who just are having a bad day.
Yeah.
It's really not an issue. They're just stupid.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to work hungover as fuck.
Yeah. You said that last week. You're not hungover today.
Mm-mm.
Dale's not even drinking. I have a cocktail in front of me and Dale's not even drinking. What's wrong? What's up with that? It's weird.
Changing my ways.
So we talk about brands every now and then. We talk about brands all the time. Taco Bell, McDonald's. We're talking about McDonald's today because sometimes they go loco.
Yeah.
McDonald's has released this new thing. It's called McDonald's Menu Hacks. They want you to combine their most famous things to make the most ridiculous, unedible creations I've ever seen.
I mean, some of this is just weird.
We've got pictures. I'll post it on our Facebook page. This is 4 different menu hacks that are inspired by your favorite McDonald's hacks. Apparently, people have been doing this on TikTok.
There might be 2 sandwiches on here I would eat. Definitely one would be fine.
All right, so the 4 are the hash brown McMuffin. It's basically a sausage, egg, cheese McMuffin with a hash brown stuck into it.
Yeah.
Easy. Anybody could do that. There's the surf and turf. This is a cheeseburger with a fillet of fish,
Fillet of fish in the
stuck
middle.
into it. There's the land, air, and sea, which I believe is a chicken patty, a Big Mac, and
The beef and then
the
fish.
the fish fillet, and then the crunchy double, which is a double cheeseburger with chicken nuggets stuffed into it.
See, I think I would eat that.
This is available at participating McDonald's through February 27th.
The only one I know for sure is the hash brown McMuffin. I think I could actually eat. That actually sounds good. I mean, you could get like those. Remember those breakfast bowls that are like mostly potato and
Yeah.
you got some scrambled eggs,
Kinda like that.
and potatoes with some cheese on top.
I
That's
had one-
basically it.
I had one just the other day.
Yeah,
All right, it's weird though. It's weird that I guess they just want people like us to talk about it, right?
I mean, if they wanted to bring back something great, they should bring. So to my knowledge, and I believe this is in New York City, there's only one McDonald's in the entire country, and I want to say it's New York City, where they do not sell American McDonald's. You go and you get their
Oh, stuff from around the world.
around the world. So you
Yeah.
can't go. I mean, yes, you could probably go and get chicken nuggets, but you
Yeah.
might not find a double cheeseburger, or maybe you do. It maybe has guacamole on it.
Right.
Like they don't sell the traditional American menu. It's all around the world. And I think this is in New York City.
like that. I want to go there.
That's what they should do. They should like feature one item for a couple of weeks and give it to all the McDonald's and let people try stuff from around the world instead of this crazy bullshit.
I think sometimes they do that. I know that
it's very
I
limited.
know that
it's very, very limited.
the McDonald's up in Maine, the state of Maine, they have lobster rolls.
Yeah.
McLobster rolls. And I actually went to McDonald's in London one day.
Well,
But
if that's
it seemed like the same menu that we have here.
Well, I'm surprised the Eastern Shore McDonald's don't sell fucking crab cakes. Why can't we have crab cake, even if it's seasonal? Like, bring it back like you do the McRib.
Yeah.
Bring it back in the summer and then goes away in the winter. That I think would be great with some McDonald's fries. It'd be awesome.
Do. So we haven't talked about this on the show before, but Peter Dinklage, the actor who played I can't remember his name on Game of Thrones. He's a shorty.
What the
They
hell
don't call
was
them
his
shorties.
name?
They call them little people. I don't know what the official term is.
I can't think of his name.
Daenerys.
No.
No, that was the mother of dragons.
Yeah.
Anyway, he came out against Disney. Released information that they were making a live action Snow White reboot,
Mm-hmm.
and he said no. He said that's shitty. You can't do that. It's not PC. Blah blah blah. Because they were going to use dwarves as the Seven Dwarfs. It's
Right.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's the fucking story, right?
Right.
It's age old. And then Disney caved to Peter Dinklage's comments and said, "We are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community in order to get it right."
Well, I guess
I don't know what that means.
I guess he doesn't speak for all of them.
Well, of course not. I mean, there's been dwarfs in lots of. I mean, obviously, what is it?
They were typecast.
Yeah. I mean, it was a cartoon, for God's sakes, right?
Yeah, I know, but then you have like the Wizard of Oz,
Wizard of Oz had
Willy Wonka.
those were Oompa Loompas. Those weren't actual people.
They were actual people.
What were they called in
Dumb.
Wizard of Oz? They were the Munchkins.
The Munchkins.
I just think that people who otherwise tall people, what do they call them? Short people. They're just very sensitive to the fact that they're smaller. But it's not like we're not making fun of you. Why can't there be dwarves in the friggin' Snow White show? Maybe they'll show them in a good light. I mean, they were good guys, right? They took care of her. They saved her life.
Except for Grumpy.
He was an asshole.
Yeah.
Grumpy. Sneezy. Bashful. Doc.
Lazy. I can't think of it.
Lazy. I think that might have been a Smurf.
Lazy Smurf.
I used to collect Smurfs. I had tons of them. They were little too.
Yeah. Fraggles.
Fraggles, I don't know how big they are.
Well, they live underground.
So do
Can't be
dwarves.
big. They do not.
They live it. Yes, the Seven Dwarfs lived in a cave that's underground.
I thought they lived in a tree trunk.
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking something else. I thought they lived in a tree trunk.
A Texas woman was arrested for allegedly trying to buy another woman's child at Walmart.
They say you can get everything you want at Walmart.
A woman has been arrested in Crockett, Texas, for allegedly attempting to purchase another woman's child while they were in the self-checkout line. The woman's name is Rebecca Lynette Taylor. She's 49 years old. She was detained back on January 18th and charged with the sale or purchase of a child, which is a third-degree felony.
Yay.
The mother and the child said that they were advising a white woman with blonde hair approached her in the Walmart wanting to purchase her son. What? She initially offered her $250,000 and said, "I've got the cash in the car."
What?
I think if they really thought that the woman was going to go for it, and they said that the $25,000 was in the car, were they going to try to lure her out there, grab the kid, and drive away without giving her the money? Because there's no way these women in Crockett, Texas had $250,000 in their car. The mother waited for the women to leave Walmart, and then she left and headed to the car. In the parking lot, she said the woman began screaming at her, saying if she wouldn't take $250,000, would she take $500,000? Because she wanted him and she was going to take him.
He must have been a pretty baby.
If this woman is found guilty on the third-degree felony, she could face up to 10 years in prison, but not less than 2 years, as well as a $10,000 fine. It's so fucking stupid. If you're going to jail for 10 years, is the fine really necessary?
Right.
Who gets that money? Maybe it goes towards your living expenses in the prison.
Yeah. I mean, but she's got to be able to pay it.
Well, she had $250,000 in cash in her car, so of course she can pay the fine.
We don't know if she had that. The thing is that if she actually did have the money, regardless of the amount, $250,000 or $500,000 in the car, and she was arrested, that money is part of the crime. She forfeits all of it.
I suspect that they didn't find any money in her car.
I can't imagine that either.
Yeah. But here's the thing I want to say. Why is it illegal? Why is it illegal to offer to buy a kid for money? I don't understand why that's illegal.
I'm sure there's a good reason.
I'm not saying that this is right, and I'm not condoning this behavior, but I don't understand why it's... If you are on bad times or down on your luck and you can't afford your kids, what's wrong with selling your kid to the next family over? No? Is that not right?
I don't even know what to say. It's just stupid.
You can sell anything else you got, but you're not allowed to sell your kids.
Mm-mm.
We got a Joe Rogan update. I don't know. You guys probably know all about this because I've been talking about it everywhere. Joe Rogan's the most famous podcaster in the world. He's got 11 million listeners that listen to him every day. He does a show every day, 5 days a week. He got a Spotify deal worth over $100 million. It's the largest podcasting deal ever made.
Is he making more than...
He makes more than anybody.
Howard Stern?
I think Howard makes $50 million a year. But that's not a podcast. That's a...
Right, I know, but...
Yeah. Anyway, Spotify is not rolling over and playing dead with Joe Rogan because they make so much fucking money off him. So when Neil Young and... who was the other one? Decided that... Joni Mitchell wanted to pull their music off because of Joe Rogan's supposed COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. Spotify said, bye-bye. We're keeping Joe Rogan. But they did come out this past week and say that they will put up a disclaimer that says that maybe not all the information you hear on this podcast is accurate. Joe Rogan came out this past weekend and admitted that he doesn't always get it right on his podcast and promised to do better going forward as Spotify scrambled to deal with the backlash.
Right.
I watched part of the video, you know.
He said he doesn't, a little bit on the news this morning.
He books all his own guests, and he says he doesn't always maybe do as much research on his guests as he should.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs maybe he does need to do better. It's
he should.
important information.
Maybe he should hire someone.
He talks a lot about it.
Hire someone to book his guest for him.
He's got $100 million. What he could afford an assistant.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, I found this comment online, and I want to read it. Can I read it?
Sure.
Quote, "This is a sad commentary on the state of today's society, but unfortunately, none of this will mean anything to anyone unless an artist with the word Lil in their name decides to pull their content from the service. I'm on the side of Young and Mitchell and facts and science, but I don't think those artists will be able to move the needle for Spotify's key demographic.
Right.
It's so funny. You know, little whatever.
Yeah, but I feel like
But we
he's
also
wrong on this because of the artists with, Lil in their name usually skew a little younger, and those people aren't listening to Joe Rogan. I suspect Joe Rogan's demographic is much older.
Agreed. But this is a joke. I mean, it was a tongue-in-cheek comment. Basically, they're saying, unless Jennifer Lopez and Taylor Swift and Shawn Mendes pull their music, right?
Right.
Then this means when Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, nobody's listening to Joni Mitchell. Nobody's listening to Neil Young. I mean, maybe every now and then.
But the thing is I feel like that the people who are listening to Joe Rogan are listening to Neil Young and Joni Mitchell.
Maybe. I don't know what his demographic is.
I don't know.
I mean, he's about my age. He's about my age, right?
I bet he skews white 40 to 60.
Maybe somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never once...
White male 40 to 60.
Probably mostly males. I have never once listened to a Joe Rogan podcast. No. I can say that. I like him. I just don't know. He seems a little Alex, what's his name? Alex Jones-ish to me. But I don't know. I think everyone should have a platform. It's called free speech. And, you're allowed to lie. People lie all the time. But that's not what they're doing, though. They call this misinformation. These people aren't lying. They're saying what they actually believe.
Right.
So you're basically saying you're not allowed to believe what you're believing. And here, I'm going to go there. What about all the religion stuff that's online? What about all the religion podcasts that are on there? So those are allowed to go forward. Even Scientology podcasts are allowed to go forward. And we all know that's a big motherfucking cult that still has tax-free status. But, what about all those people that don't believe in God and don't think that God exists? So basically, you're allowing all these people to spew all this crazy nonsense, mystical faith shit, which is never, you can't prove it. But then Joe Rogan's not allowed to question whether the vaccines are good for people. It's kind of a double-edged sword, I think. But religion always gets a pass. Always gets a pass.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's right. And you're not going to comment.
Nope.
You don't want to piss off our religious believers out there that listen to the Swish Edition?
I don't feel strongly one way or another. My opinion is just...
I think it's such a... It doesn't make any sense to me. You're willing to get 100% behind anybody who wants to believe anything when it comes to religion and faith. But when it comes to any other issue, political or otherwise, you're vilified and canceled immediately. It's not really fair. But you got all these millions and hundreds of millions of people out there that believe in this mystical thing that probably doesn't exist. He is not going to play with me on this issue.
I'm touching it.
Should we go to Las Vegas?
Yes.
Just announced last week, Las Vegas Bally's Hotel is rebranding. They're going to become a Horseshoe by this summer, and they're getting a multi-million-dollar makeover, which Caesars realizes, like the rest of us, that Bally's really, really needs it. Have you been in there?
But I will.
It's tired.
But I will say, as much as we've been going to Las Vegas and we lived there, it's going to be weird. Because it feels like Horseshoe should be something down Fremont Street, not on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's
Yeah.
been there forever, and it's gonna look weird not to have it, but it does need to be burned to the ground.
Speaking of being burned to the ground, it was the original MGM Grand that burned to the ground. And then they built Bally's in its place.
That's another one needs a makeover, big time. I mean, the whole Wizard of Oz shit is, and no one even
Emerald
knows
green.
that. No one even knows that.
Well, when it first opened in
If
the
you
80s,
ask
it was
normal people today is why does the MGM Grand look the way it does? No one's going to say, "Oh, it's from the Wizard of Oz."
it was themed after the Wizard of Oz. That's why the whole building is green.
I know it's ugly.
Anyway, so Bally's becoming horseshoe. There are 6 other horseshoes in the country. Dale and I have spent some time at the Baltimore one.
Yeah,
It's actually pretty nice.
pretty nice. Yeah,
There's also one in Indianapolis and 4 other places that I didn't even know what state they were. So I'm not gonna know. I'm not gonna try. In related news, Adele apparently has lost her fucking mind.
She's a mess.
She's canceled her entire run at Caesar's Palace, and it's reportedly going to cost Caesars over $150 million.
Sue her ass.
They're going to sue her. It's now being blamed on her sports agent boyfriend, Rich Paul. There are reports out that she was crying constantly throughout her rehearsals and constantly taking phone calls from Paul, who lives in LA. She left Vegas a couple days ago to be with Paul on a private jet. And sources say there's trouble in paradise. That's why she can't perform. And she said last week, my show ain't ready. It ain't ready because you're in love with this dumbass who apparently is taking your mind off your business. Anyway, it's weird, huh?
It's horrible because this was a great get for Caesars.
It was
and
a
now-
great get for Caesars, and everyone loved Adele, and she seemed like so perfect in every way. She's the most amazing singer. She's beautiful. Everyone loves her. I mean, she's almost up there with Dolly Parton, right?
I mean, she's doing something. I mean, maybe this is all legit. I swore she was flat out lying when she first broke the news and blamed it on COVID. I was like,
Yeah.
there's more to that. But she's doing something. She may never be invited back for another residence. So, I mean, who would take the risk?
I mean, originally said it was COVID and delivery problems, and then it came out that she was displeased with the set design, particularly over a swimming pool that was erected in the middle of the stage. And now we find out that it's really about the boyfriend, and they're having relationship problems, and she just can't deal. And my last line right here on the script: "Bitch is gonna get sued.
Yeah, and she may
Bitch is gonna get
she
sued.
may have ruined her chances for something like this.
Ever performing in Vegas again?
It's got to be gravy for an artist to have a residence, or like basically it's a tour in one place, and you don't have to travel from town to fucking town to fucking town.
Right.
You just stay there.
and
perfect.
And it was sold out. It was sold out. That every seat was going to be fucking full. And now they have to give all the money back, and all those dates have to be filled with somebody else.
Right.
So crazy. In other touring news, Madonna says that she'd like to do one more stadium tour,
Just go away.
and she thinks it would be fun if Britney came on tour with her.
No,
they
it would
recreate their kiss.
It would not be fun for anyone. No one would go to that fucking concert. No one wants to hear neither one of them. Because Madonna's going to
that's not
refuse to sing any of the stuff that people love and enjoy.
Well, it's what
and
we-
Britney Spears can't fucking sing, and she can't fucking dance. And why anyone thinks that she's talented is beyond me. I've never understood the phenomena of Britney Spears.
The only talent that Britney Spears has is in the studio with all the mixing and editing and.
Please,
yeah.
you think she's doing that?
There's lots of
No.
her songs that I find very enjoyable.
Oh, I find them enjoyable, but she hasn't done anything.
Right.
They're written, produced for her. They just put her voice on it.
Yeah, and heavily change her voice.
Right. This would be a horrible tour.
And it's not really going to happen. And I don't think that Madonna could fill a stadium at this point anyway. If she promised to do all the hits, if she promised to do all the stuff from the 80s and 90s,
Right.
maybe. Everything from the beginning up until
92.
Rain. Da, 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 da. That she needs to stop there. Everything after that sucked. Not Rain. What was it? Shit, I don't remember the name of the. I just want her old stuff. I want everything before Reinvention Tour. That would be good for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, we finally have a date for the Halloween Ends, which is going to be the final Halloween movie. Apparently. You know it's not going to be the final movie.
I was
Jamie
waiting for
Lee
you
Curtis.
to say that. And it's funny that you say this because Netflix just announced the Leatherface.
Oh, reboot.
And apparently, like Halloween, because that's gone through many incarnations, but this one picks up, this is from 50 years ago. So this is like one of the earlier ones.
Oh, wow.
Skips all the ones in the middle, like the Jessica Biel one and all that bullshit,
Yeah.
and then jumps right to this one.
Ooh, Jessica Biel was in a horror movie?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. I can't watch that. It's so gross.
This one looks really, really good. I mean, it's incredibly brutal, even on the trailer.
No.
I'm going to check it out. I think it comes out this coming Friday.
You can watch it yourself. I don't watch that kind of stuff. But I like Halloween, and Halloween Ends is coming out on October 14th of this year.
Yeah.
And my good friend Kyle from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is back.
Word.
Excited about that. Anyway, binge bum this Friday. And Dale and I will be back again for another Swish Edition next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. He is not going to play with me
I'm
on
not-
this issue.
I'm touching it.